Chelsea have lost their second game of the season 3-1 to West Ham, and Moises Caicedo has had a nightmare debut. Um, yeah, it was not great for Caicedo. He gave a penalty away. It just wasn't good for him at all. It will get better, but it wasn't a very good debut. And yeah, he just didn't look it yesterday when he was playing against West Ham. But Chelsea all around yesterday were just not very good. They played a few new players. It just wasn't very good for Chelsea all around. And like last season, they had a really bad season last season. It could just be a blip, but it could be something. But Maurizio Pochettino definitely needs to work on it, and I do think that Chelsea, are they really back? I think we jumped to conclusions last week when they drew to Liverpool. They were the better team, but I think we did jump to conclusions a bit quickly, a bit too quick, and they have lost their second game of the season 3-1, which they probably should have won. They probably should have won, and it's it could be that they will have a couple of blips throughout this season. It could just be a blip, obviously, but it might be something because Chelsea last season weren't the greatest. They have a few players out injured. They've made 2 new signings, 3 new signings, 4 new signings throughout this transfer window. They've made Romero Lavia, Caicedo, Jackson, and Nkunku, and they nearly signed Elise from Crystal Palace as well. But yeah, I do think Chelsea again they do have a problem with their squad. They are overspending on players they don't need, and I don't think they need Elise, to be honest, because I think they're far better without Elise. Not saying that Elise isn't a good player, but what I am saying is that I don't think they need Elise. I don't think they'd play him. I do not think they'd play him. Obviously, there was a massive rotation in the squad this season for Chelsea with Nkunku obviously being injured. They need Nicholas Jackson as a backup. Reece James is now injured for his second season in a row now. He's had unlucky seasons twice with injury, and he's also the captain. Maybe they should have probably thought about it more before they just gave captaincy to Reece James, because you can never rely on him with injuries. Yes, he is a childhood fan of Chelsea and has been there since his young days, but they probably should have thought about it more first. Although there's a lot of new players in that team, and Reece James, obviously, he's been there since the youth set up, played his debut in 2019, and has been a great player ever since. But I do think they did jump to conclusions and gave him the captaincy too early. Because, for one, I do think with being the captain of a club carries a lot of responsibility. So, he's going to have to carry a lot of responsibility. And, yeah, he does make a great captain, but you have to also bear in mind that if your captain does get injured, and it's a crucial injury, you are without him for ages. And that is what is wrong with this club. Because last season, yes, they might have made a lot of signings, but at the same time, a lot of their players were very rusty. A lot of their players weren't at their best. Kepa's now gone to Real Madrid. They have Robert Sanchez in the net now. No clue how Kepa signed for Real Madrid. No clue how that happened. But yeah, at least they've sort of sold him. There is an obligation to buy for Real Madrid, if I'm correct. But I do think Chelsea need more squad depth. Yes, they are rotating the squad around, which you need for a club. They played a couple of new players last night, and there was even someone on the bench called Bashir Humphreys. I don't have a clue who that is. So they are playing new players. They're rotating the squad around, giving the youngsters a bit of a run out. Burstow, who plays for Chelsea, did get a run out last night. Obviously Robert Sanchez, he did play for Brighton before playing for Chelsea, and he was a great player at Brighton, and he is now their first choice keeper. It's going to be different because this Chelsea squad looks unrecognisable from last season. Obviously, a lot of their star players have gone. And the squad does look better, but they're overspending again. They bought 22 plus players last season, and this season they've spent to nearly £10 million. No, they've spent to nearly £1 billion this season. They've spent to nearly £1 billion. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. And I don't think you should be spending that much in a whole window. Like, Chelsea this season, they are going to be better, but are they really back? Are they really back? Because I think we jump into conclusions a bit with that one, because we did say last week that Chelsea, they're back, they're going to do better this season. Some people have even said they'll finish in the top 4, which I don't think will happen. Europa League at best, but they need to figure out their squad, really, because it is good enough, but they're rotating the squad too much. Although rotating the squad is good, they're rotating it too much, and that can get muddled up at times. Especially if you're making wholesale changes, like Chelsea have done that a lot of times this season. Lavia is a great example. Casado as well. Yeah, and Kunku and Jackson are also great examples. If you're gonna rebuild your squad, keep some of the players that were in there originally. Don't make too many wholesale changes, because that is what changes your squad altogether. And I think there's also a problem with the ownership of Chelsea as well. Todd Boehly, yeah, I don't think he's the right man, because before they had their other owner, yeah, before they had Todd Bowley, Chelsea were flying. Chelsea were absolutely flying. And then Todd Bowley comes in and it goes downhill. Um yeah, yeah. Chelsea, they weren't good last night. I do think there was a problem with the ownership, but they do have a new manager, and I don't think they should be rotating the squad around so much. But yeah, Chelsea, are they really back? Not sure. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, you know what to do, which means like, subscribe, turn post notifications on, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.